They got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems. I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something. That's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression is all that I wanted. The phone and affection, I summon and dub it. Cause I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems. I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something. That's why I ain't.
Yeah, y'all know what time it is. Y'all saw this face again. Y'all seen it all over. It's happening. This is happening. But it is what it is. You're listening to the Urban Sports Scene. I'm Wole, and welcome to our Commanders recap show. Joining me is one of the best reporters in the game for the Washington Commanders, a cool friend of mine, Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia's Commanders beat reporter Felix Trammell. What's good, Felix?
How you doing, brother? How you doing?
Rough day, bro. Rough day.
It was a rough day for the Burgundy and Gold.
Rough day for the Burgundy and Gold. Speaking of that, the Washington Commanders fell to the Atlanta Falcons 34-27. But before we talk about this game, we gotta knock out some logistics. Hey, check out our website, which is www.urbansportscene.com. You can subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search the Urban Sports Scene. Make sure you subscribe to the Urban Sports Scene YouTube channel. If you are in the YouTube chat, we accept super chats. Super chats help us support the show. The super chats will be prioritized over all comments in the chat. Don't forget to tweet us at Urban Sports Scene. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at Urban Sports Scene and like our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. You can also join our Urban Sports Scene Facebook group. Just search Urban Sports Scene, sports bloggers, sports podcasters, and sports debates. All right, let's dive right into it. Felix, I mentioned the score, 34-27. The Atlanta Falcons defeat the Washington Commanders. Well, first off, you were there. What were your overall thoughts on the game?
Well, let me first start out. Washington showed out. I mean, the fans.
Yeah.
It was legit 60-40 Washington. Like there was audible chance of defense, and when the Commanders came out and Atlanta's doing their intro, and I'll say this, Atlanta has a great show. Like they are an entertainment city. That stadium, all the stuff they do is great. But they're doing their own hype video and the Commanders go out and you just hear cheers. And
wow.
It was something lovely to see. And then the game kicked off, and Atlanta was certainly the aggressors, and I think people mistook especially last week. You know, NFL is full of anomalies. 30-0 to Carolina was an anomaly. That was not the reality. That's an anomaly, and this was a get right game for Atlanta, and you could see that they had that sense of urgency as they were going into bye week. So they knew they had to win this game, because if they lost this and then sat on a bye, that's when seats started to get hot. So they were just more the aggressors. And this is the second time on the road that Washington has started off slow. They just started off slow. They started off flat. Something in that's got to change. And I think the difference between this year's squad and last year's squad is last year's squad was aggressors, especially on the road. If you go back to like Cincinnati, you remember they punched Cincinnati in the mouth?
Yeah. Prime time game. Yeah,
Cincinnati even punched back. They kept punching. Or even the Arizona game, when you saw they just came out and Arizona went down the field and scored, but then they just started piling it on. This team doesn't have that drive yet, and I don't know if it's just trying to manage expectations or that, but overall, I mean, there are some good spots in it. Like is the offense. The offense had more time on the field. I think there would have been some good things there. I think you're seeing the value of Bill. You saw a little bit of Jalen Lane, but you're actually seeing Luke get a chance. And you're seeing plays being made by those type. And then Debo has probably been the best offensive player on the team all season. So there's some positives in that, but it wasn't a good day at all. It's not necessarily a panic day because Atlanta is a good team. Bijan Robinson is a top 3 offensive talent in the NFL. Period. Like there's Derrick Henry when he doesn't fumble the ball. There's Saquon Barkley and there's Bijan. And so people need to understand what Bijan is. And Atlanta found a way to exploit Washington's weakness. And Washington's weakness is coverage in the linebacker safety core. And that was exposed today. And it was exposed repeatedly today. And there's a lot of factors to that. But, injuries play a part. Scheme plays a part. Being forced into coverage plays a part. And then it was just an elite talent on the upside. So all those came together, and a desperate team won a game they had to win.
My man. Marv, what's going on, Marv? You said this is why JD5 is so important to the franchise.
No, I agree with that. I think JD5 plays is a shootout, but then the fact that it would have to be a shootout. Now, the offense left 14, 17 points on the field.
Yeah.
So it's the Atlanta defense wasn't exactly, they had their moments, but they weren't like world beaters by any stretch of the imagination. But JD5 is definitely important, and I think you will see JD5 come out at SoFi.
Yeah,
because they're going to hope that he provides the spark for the rest of the team.
Yeah, I said this on another show. I'm not sure if he plays, they win this game. I still thought that, if we're going off of what they have, how they looked all so far offensively this year, right? Like this was like, I don't know if they win this game even if he plays. I do think there's a different level of confidence, so I do agree with that element. Like they're in a better situation if he plays because you're confident when you got your guy with you, right?
Right.
You got your guy in the fight. You feel like, oh, you can beat anybody. But I do want to go back and harp on what you said earlier about like what's different from last year in your opinion, because you're right. Like they used to, like they got punched in the mouth. They didn't really go backwards. They still would kind of try to go bang for bang with you. But now it's like, to a certain extent, it does seem like they're like, they wobble a little bit easier, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's good boxer terminology. I think it's in trying not to do the knockout. I mean, they're trying not to get knocked out.
Okay.
So they don't do the knockout. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
So the old phrase, you got to punch to, you got to take a punch to give a punch.
Yes, facts.
Totally, and I think they're too, I don't want to say too bad, but I think sometimes they're just, kind of see how it goes. Like that's how the first quarters go. Let's see how they do. And they did it a couple times last year where the defense was like, all right, let's see how they're going to play. And a team might have a good first drive. Then the second drive, they adjust. By the third drive, the defense has kind of clamped them in.
Yeah.
They haven't really been able to do that. The Raiders did it to themselves. They were able to really do that to the Giants. So in seeing what the Giants did today, there is weapons there. Hopefully Neighbors will be all right, but it doesn't look good with him. But they've been able to do that, but they still haven't just been the aggressor. And I don't know if it's like, you don't want to show, is it not showing too much or but they're not coming out with that same aggression that they did last year, especially offensively. I
agreed.
I think Cliff's best called game was last week with the Raiders. I thought he did call a good game, but it's not a lot of explosives. But then when you look on the field and you see your receivers are Devo, Luke McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, how much you going to do? And a backup quarterback. So it's like, how much am I really going to do? But that doesn't excuse the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
So I just think expectations do mean something. Washington's a good team. Everyone knows that Washington's a good team. Like it's not, it's Washington. Like they'll do what Washington does. No, they know that Washington's a good team. So they're being treated as a good team. Now, can you win with success? There's a little bit thing because now you're going to get people's best effort.
Yeah.
It's as a Duke fan, it's the Duke syndrome. You went to Duke, so everyone's going to see you as that team. So now, are you going to play up to that level? You're going to have to do it now. Not saying that they're anywhere like the best team in the league, but people are going to take you seriously. And I just think they haven't found that right medium yet.
No, I think you're right. I think that's a good analogy. Using like, when you're a brand like the Duke Blue Devils, or you're a brand like
the Lakers,
your brand like the Cowboys, you hate to hate it, but like that your schedule, you're circled on the schedule. Like when you're now when you're like Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders, because Jaden Daniels was one of the faces of the league now, right? You're going to get the team's best shot. So I do agree with you. Like that's a thing. So they do kind of have, it's different from being in a situation where you're the unknown. Now you're the known. So now everybody wants to see what they, how do you measure up? I mean, don't forget, like this, again, folks forget pundits forget, this team was at the NFC championship game. So they are a team that you should be circled. That should be circled on your calendar.
Right. And you gotta look at it this way. Remember, Atlanta lost to them in December.
Like, yeah.
They lost that game in overtime, and then I think that contributed to them losing to the Panthers at the end of the season. So, like, look at it that way. They were a bad field goal away from beating Washington. So it's not like, and it took Jaden's heroics and overtime and stuff to win the game, but they were right there. So, like, people just assume, can't assume in this league. You can't take anything for granted in this league, because even the Raiders look immensely better today than they did last week.
Yeah.
But they played on a short week and had to fly across the country and play the early window. Now Washington is in the air right now, flying home. They land, but then they got to turn around and go to LA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, that's a hard turnaround with a older team. So like, there's a lot of factors that go into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that, like, that's the thing that kind of stands out to me. It's more than that. It's just like to your point, it's like you're not sneaking. And I don't like that term, like sneaking up on anybody. Like, that's like means like they can't beat good teams. You know what I mean? People just gotta use that sneak it up thing. Like, but sneaking up on anybody, knowing that now, we know you one of them now. So you're circled now. Like, you're circled. There's a difference between just being a team. Like, they got quality players that can probably compete with you, but now being circled on the calendar and knowing that there's to that game. That's a marquee game. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, because you want to see what you do against this team. And, I'll just use Michael Penix, for example. There was more Jaden Daniels jerseys in Mercedes-Benz than there were Penix jerseys.
Of course.
Like, I mean, there was Vic and Bijan, because they were, they had the same number, but then it was way more JD5 than Penix jersey. So Penix is going to be like, I want to prove that I'm at that level.
Yeah.
So just stuff like that. So it's not a disrespect, it's a respect thing. And now teams are going to come at you because they're like, okay, this team was there, and bam, like I want to prove his too, because like you said, we sat there and watched this team playing the championship game.
Yeah.
Like, we all sat here and watched this team. There was only one team that bettered them. So they're going to come out with that type of level of respect.
I totally I'm with that. Paul had a question for you, Felix. Here you go. Paul said, Joe's defense is fundamentally flawed since last year. They have no principle inconsistent tackling, and they don't take the ball. They look lost, especially in the secondary.
All right. That's a big one. Statement.
But, statement. Yeah. I know.
No, I'll say a few things to that. Okay. One, they shifted the power to the defensive line. So the defensive line is not dominating the game. So the defensive line dominated the New York Giants game. Yeah. We saw the results. Even Malik Neighbors, an elite talent, didn't have a good game against them. Green Bay had a nice system on a short week, and teams are now copying that system. So
you're seeing it now.
The biggest issue now is the team is missing Will Harris, and people are like, "Well, Will Harris didn't do so good in the Green Bay game," and yada yada yada. But Will Harris is that glue. It's that nickel linebacker sort of guy. Because if Will Harris was out there today, it would have been Will Harris on Bijan Robinson. Now that he was not out there, Washington played more cover 2. You saw Reeves further back with Quan. So now who's left to cover Bijan? It's either Frankie or Bobby.
Yeah.
They forced that pre-snap motion. The problem with Witt right now is he's very predictable in how he's playing certain formations.
Yeah.
So the Falcons did it. The Raiders did it. They tried, and then Green Bay did it, where we know this is how Witt's going to play this formation. Let's force it to get this. So in the Green Bay game, they were trying to get Mikey on a tight end. They worked on that. So the Raiders tried it, couldn't quite do it. So the Falcons saw it was like, hey, we got this weapon in Bijan. Let's get Bijan on Bobby. And a lot of those times last year, if you go back and look at the Atlanta tape, Bobby blitzed.
Like, a lot of blitz. Yeah, I know.
A lot of coverage because he would blitz. Because Jeremy Chin would be the one that was covering that. So Bobby would not be put in that position because he's not even no matter what they did. Bobby was blitzing. Bobby was coming downhill. Now, if that backed up, you're trying to have Bobby be the communicator for everybody, which means he had to be out there. So you got Savage who just got here,
which is wild that he was playing off the rip. That's wild to me. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So like you got all those factors, and then it just becomes predictable. So the line didn't do their job. And I'll put some of this on the line because if you look at some of those plays, Penix was standing back there chilling.
Yeah, chilling.
Just chilling. And no NFL corner is covering for 6-7 seconds. Like that doesn't happen in the NFL. Nobody can cover that long. So it just compounds it. And then they were just always a step ahead of Washington. That swing play that they threw for the long one that almost went, I saw it coming. I was like, watch this motion. And they're gonna push into Bobby's face, and then both of those receivers pushed in his face. Natural screen, he was out the back door, and there's going to have to be more communication. I think Darnell Savage will help because he can cover better. He can move around because you have to look at now. Jeremy Reese played all those snaps and was on special teams. Now, Mikey's been playing special teams in all those snaps.
Yeah, he has.
Juan is playing special teams on those snaps because guess who's out? Percy Butler's out. So now there's another, body, and that stuff does wear you down. So, not to say excuses, Witt has to be better, and he has to be more aggressive, and he has to be more unpredictable. I think he's fallen into a predictability rut where if I know what's coming, I know the people who get paid millions of dollars.
There you go.
So, like, there's of course the thing, and the defense can't fall apart because Will Harris is out.
I agree with that too. I think that's going to be a thing.
So you're going to have to make some adjustments. You play more 4-3 and let McGee be that person, or play more nickel and invert the cornerbacks. Like there's ways to combat that. Now you're not going to run into a Bijan Robinson until you run into Saquon Barkley. Yeah. So there are just guys you're going to be playing against, but they're going to try the same principles. So, Herbert's a good quarterback. You got Keenan Allen's very wily veteran. They're going to be able to do some things offensively. Now, you're just going to have to be able to combat that. So, to answer that question fully, I think A, Witt's become predictable. That's his biggest problem. And B, he doesn't have all the pieces to really run the defense, so he's playing more cover. Okay. And if I hate it. As a former DB, I hate it. I'd rather have more pressure, more press. They can't really do it because you saw in the first play, the first mistake was actually on Amos. And when in motion, Jeremy signaled for Amos to drop. It should have dropped in the cover 3. Amos didn't get it. They both go to the flat, and then next thing you know, you see Kyle Pitts on the first play. Like that's communication.
Yeah. So, did he make this? Did he make the kick?
I think he didn't because I see the Bears celebrating.
Oh, he missed it. He got blocked. Good job. Okay, that's what's up. All right. So, yeah, I know. As football, when football's on, it's like football's king. Football is king. I do want to get to because you were there and you were there in the locker rooms and whatnot. What was the morale after the loss? Like, what was it like? And compare it to how it was with the Packers, like the Packers loss.
Packers was more of a shock. Like, the team was shocked. Okay. And I still contend if they play that on a full week of rest, that's a different game.
Gotcha.
Now, this one, there was anger. There was a few times, and I don't know how much they showed this on TV. Bobby Wagner was absolutely incensed.
I couldn't tell. I didn't see it.
And he has a face where it's like, okay, whatever. It's like that Tim Duncan face. Like, just looks unemotional. But he called the defense together one time and laid into him. He was frustrated. You could just see it in his face. The defense was upset. I do think the offense is kind of like, okay, we kind of figured it out. We just need to get all our pieces back. But it was a lot of it was very quiet, but it was anger.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Packers lost. It was just shock. And they were just kind of like, what hit them?
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't quite understand what hit them. Today it was like we just let Atlanta just be happy, happy, joy, joy, and we need to do better. So they got figured out of the road because the next game is on the road too. I mean, but the Chargers are not going to have nearly as a type of home field advantage.
Yeah,
like they're going to be inside and but the Chargers are not an intimidating place to play. Not to say that Mercedes-Benz was.
Yeah,
like I said, it was majority Commanders fans, but
yeah,
you know, they're going to have to figure it out, and they're going to have to start being super aggressive.
Yeah, it's going to be because you can't give. I know he's dealing with a bad offensive line, but you talk about quarterback play. Justin Herbert's playing really good basketball. Really good quarterback. He's really good football as a quarterback right now for the Chargers, and like probably the best he's played since in a long time. And he's got some weapons.
He's in a better groove. He's not getting as much now. Joe Alt being out will hurt him.
That will hurt, but also I would say this too, and I had the same things that. Like where he's been getting hit at, like the teams that have been getting at him, and you're right, Joe Alt being out definitely hurts. But we're talking about like the Broncos and the Giants, and those lines are kind of different from what Washington's putting out there right now.
And when I told people Giants had a defensive line, it was real. And they were like, that's a real
real defensive line, buddy.
And then the Broncos is pretty darn good too.
Yeah, so it's just like they're gonna have to. They can't start early, and I'm not. Like we'll do a preview of that shit game, whatever. But to your point, if you're not being able to kind of get pressure with your front four, he's gonna have to change it. Like he's gonna have to change it because
because what was happening, he wanted to use that heavy line against those running teams, which did work when you had Dietrich Wise and all that other stuff. Now that you don't have Dietrich, Javonte. It looked like a shoulder. I've heard rumors of a pec.
Yeah, I'm seeing that somewhere. Yeah.
Like that was so if he's out, Preston's there, but you're going to have to get more creative, and you just can't use your base four. And it's got to get more creative because they were able to. I mean, Kinlaw was still able to disrupt, and so was Payne on some runs. They're not. Yeah. It's the more the Penix that. You didn't hit Penix like you hit Penix last year, and that has to change.
Yeah, I know it has to change, and especially I said this. That's what frustrated me about this game. I felt like it's kind of like it was a known thing with Michael Penix. You know what I mean? And it's like for any quarterback, but definitely for Michael Penix, because I said this before he was drafted. What I learned about him. In that national championship game, I learned a lot about him in that national championship game, like more than anything about what that kind of pressure does to him as a passer. Like some people handle pressure differently, right? Like some people can kind of like Jaden to me handles pressure pretty good. Like it does like he's just cool with it, right? And every quarterback is flustered with pressure, but it's the way you handle it. I just didn't like how he handled it in that national championship game. I said, okay, that's gonna be an issue in the league if you don't have like a Jalen Hurts type of offensive line. Right with the Eagles, so that's what. And then when it happened to him last week, I'm like, all right. I think we're gonna be okay. Like we use this game plan, and granted, I know they got weapons. I've always said Atlanta has a bunch of weapons. That's one thing I've never diminished about their weapons. Bijan is one of the best running backs. We got there's four dogs at running backs. Bijan is one of them. With Taylor, Bijan. Henry and Saquon, those are dogs in the league right now. But and we know that London is a very capable wide receiver in terms of catch radius and catching ability, and we saw that on that key play on that catch on the sideline, like his skill set and his hands. And Michael, regardless of what people say about Pitts, Kyle Pitts is still one of the most talented tight ends in football. It may have not come all full circle, but he's one of the more talented, athletically gifted tight ends in football. So I get that, like they have talent. But what I didn't like is still at the end of the day, when something's not working, you do have to take chances and do have to kind of mix things up when it's not working for you. It can't always be safe.
And I think part of it, they're going with that heavier line to stop the run, and they actually outrush the Falcons. The Commanders did. So they did actually kind of do that. The problem is it doesn't generate enough pass rush. So you're going to have to mix in more like a Johnny Newton and go lighter and get more pressure.
I agree with you.
The rush, because they did a good job. Now, Bijan, all his good runs were to the outside, but teams have not been able to run forward, like straight up the middle. Teams have not really been able to do that, and that's a credit to the Kinlaws and the Payne stepped up and the Goldmans and all of those. But the problem is now those guys aren't generating enough pass rush to help your secondary, which is already struggling. So, if they go light, they're going to just Falcons going to start pounding the ball. So they're going to have to find a way to get a decent mix.
Yeah, a medium.
Like, they don't have to find a mix.
Yeah, they're going to have to. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. So question from Paul, it says, Felix, we saw Coleman get benched. Who gets benched next?
I've heard conflicting stories on Coleman.
Yeah, me too.
It does look like it's coming across and getting benched. Wiley's not going to really get benched. Cosme's just going to be coming back.
Yeah. It's not being benched.
That's not being benched. Like, everyone's clamoring for Lattimore to get benched.
Yeah, they are. I'm starting to get there too.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of that. Like,
but I have my own reasons for that, for why I think we're Lattimore should. I have my own reasons for that.
Like, if you do that, people understand that Noah's next. And
I think they do understand.
We saw the Giants go right after him. Like, Noah's here. They ran 3 plays at him, and until Mikey got back on the field. I mean, I like Noah, and I think Noah has a lot of potential. But if y'all think Lattimore's a target, no one's going to really be inside.
The only thing I would say, like, I agree with you. The only thing I would say is this: like, it's not actually. I think you're just going to be screwed nickel regardless. But the only thing I would say, like, is that I want Mikey to go back on the outside, and I feel like
people said that it might help. Mikey's been lost. Now, Mikey was finally able to do a little bit today.
Yeah,
and he got the pick. You saw him being in those areas. To affect change, and he was able to do that.
Yeah.
What teams have been doing, like Green Bay did it. They were like, "Oh, Mikey's in here. Let's find this double tight end and make him have to guard a tight end." For as good as Mikey is, so now Mikey is more reactionary thinking than just playing aggressively. Like, even there was a 3rd down, and Penix was getting pressured, and he just threw it, and the receiver that Mikey was covering caught it, and Mikey was just kind of like,
in the middle. I think you're talking about. I think it was London. I think London caught it.
Like, I don't remember who caught it, but just because of that, you almost look like you see him thinking. And he's not just reacting. So that might help Mikey. But do you have to make a choice? Do you make your quote unquote outside better and make your slot weaker? Or you keep him in the slot and you put outside guy better?
I think you would.
I don't know, because then you're going back to smaller corners. Like, at least Marshawn's bigger. Like,
I like
Marshawn's underrated run tackler, defender. But I don't think they make that change yet. Now, it happens a few more times. I think there's a discussion to be had on that. But that would be my only other person that would say to be benched. There could be some rotation with the linebackers.
How do you do that though? Like, how do you do? Like, who do you?
Well, I mean, they didn't play any base today, so that means McGee didn't play. Which I was shocked. I was expecting more base because if you go into base, it actually protects Bobby.
Yes, agree.
Because now Bobby's not covering anybody as a middle linebacker.
Yeah, I agree.
So that would help him. It just ends up, who do you take off? You're taking off Mikey, you're taking off Lattimore, you're taking off Amos. Like, who are you taking off? And I think that's a set we're going to see a little bit more of, that true 4-3.
I was hoping I'll see it. I'm kind of annoyed. I'm kind of sick of like the whole smaller. I would like to see a traditional 4-3 now.
Yeah, because I mean, like, too many times, and this is a knock I have on their head. On 3rd downs, Dorrance was
in coverage.
I saw Martin Like
I saw that too.
It was like Martin on Drake London.
Yeah.
I would take that matchup.
Yes.
Like, you've got to understand, like, we're not in a 3-4, so the ends should never be dropping into coverage. If we're in 3-4 and they're outside linebacker, you can do it sometimes, but
not that many times.
Martin should not be covering anybody.
No,
ever.
Never.
So that's a beef I have. Like, let your pass rushers rush.
Yes.
Because I think last week Vaughn had dropped into coverage. And you're like, you don't pay Von Miller to be a rush DN to drop into coverage.
I have an issue of how even Von's being used. It's a whole different thing. But that's a whole different. I feel like I'm not asking for Von Miller either. When I say this, it's not I'm asking him for getting a lot of burn. I'm asking to like utilize to kind of make life easy for him so you can get the full advantage of him. Yeah. Like, I don't think Von is the type of person, personally, I don't think Von is a guy you can just say line up and get pressure on the quarterback all the time. Like, you got to kind of help manufacture pressure to help him get free. That let me put it that way.
Yeah, you can't play him, and I think this is also a hurt for Witt and coming from Dallas.
Yeah,
like, you could play that because you had a guy that could kind of change.
Yes, there you go.
So
I get yes.
Like, this defense is fine if you have the guy that changes the world that's in there wrecking shop somewhere. Now they don't seem to have now it doesn't seem to have an effect because everyone's in pretty much the same place. Yeah. Vaughn's rushing here. Occasionally he'll rush over here. Dorrance is always here. Martin's always here. Like, Payne's always in a shade 1 or power 3 tech. Like, it's always the same thing. So I think he's got to change that up because you don't have that one person wrecking crew that you had in Dallas that could, all right, I can do this base defense because it's not going to matter because he's going to be affecting the quarterback anyway. Now I only have to defend one side of the field. So we do see a lot of times where it looks like they've blanket covered one side of the field. The problem is the quarterback's still standing still, and then there's something on the backside where it looks like, why is the corner so out of place? But that defense was designed with Mike Parsons in mind, affecting the quarterback, and that quarterback would never get back to that read. So that happened with Penix on today. Actually, that played one of them plays, the Lattimore, to be fair, was a play that normally the pressure would have came, but Penix was able to go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to go 4. He was supposed to be 4.
And now with the way that Witt had his coverage design, he's kind of just like a backside shell, and they're going by him. And he's not actively engaging pressing, which I think, you get a flag or two, but I think that would be the better play is to play him as a press and go for broke.
I agree. I think it gets to a point where you kind of have to have like you like your corners, like supposedly you like these. They like these guys. You eventually gotta trust them. I don't care. You just gotta trust them. Yeah, you're getting beat in coverage. You're getting beat. I think you're getting beat in coverage anyway. And they're being a little bit passive. Why not be more aggressive with them? Therefore, that helps their style. But go ahead.
Absolutely, I'm with you. Like Paul says, we had no one to cover up defense. That's fast. So if that's my case, I'd rather go for broke and rather press up, maybe get the quarterback to get off his feet, get off his set, and then play off and be non-reactionary. Because if you're playing off, teams are able to, all right, we'll just nickel and dime you down the field, big shot. So I would go down with the press and being aggressive versus not being aggressive and still go down.
Yeah, there you go. That's where I'm at, Felix. If you're going look, I'm feeling like if you're going to go down regardless, at least be aggressive. Yeah, that's how I look at it. Like, that's where I'm at. If you
all out blitz and Penix spins out and makes a miracle throw and they catch it for a touchdown, great. He's an NFL player. He made a play. Yeah. But if you're standing in off cover 4
and you're getting a big plays anyway,
and they're getting a big plays, and Penix is just standing there, what have you accomplished?
Exactly. That's where I'm at. That's exactly where I'm at. George has a question for you. He said early Senate was out there blocking a lot, but later it was Trent Scott out there as a tackle eligible. Do you think until Bates gets back, we will see more Trent Scott?
Yes.
Okay.
He's going to be that tackle eligible, that extra blocker. Now, I'm going to say this: Kingsbury's going to have to throw out of that set. Somebody's going to have to get the ball in that set, and it should be Ben Sinnott because you're already going 2 tight ends anyway. But it has to be a throw on those plays a couple times just to keep teams honest. Because if they just hear 73 is eligible, up's a run. So you will see that until Bates is back. I think I feel like it's 2 weeks for Bates. They didn't IR him, so that's a good sign. And so I would see the week until you see him back. But you see the value of that on certain plays, like when some of those counter play actions, he's that backside pickup on the net. You don't have that, and the Falcons were able to get pressure off the edge on those bootlegs because it's not Bates over there blocking. It's Bennett. So to answer the questions, Trent Scott's going to get burned there, and then he actually becomes the swing tackle because they're using Wiley at guard. Now, when Cosme comes back, Wiley can go back to being the swing tackle, and then Scott is kind of depending on the health of the tight ends.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I think he's been playing well in that as an extra role. So I'm always rooting for Trent Scott. So it is what it is. Obviously, people know I'm biased. I'm HBCU biased. A question from Paul says, Felix, you mentioned that Bobby was frustrated. I feel that the players don't believe in what Witt is calling. Do you see that coming to the surface? I don't know what's that.
Bobby's frustrated, and I think. I don't know if they don't believe in what was calling. They just don't. In the heat of the moment, they're not getting it right.
Okay.
And that may be. I don't know if it's because it's overcomplicated. Sometimes it's just okay. If they're in this formation, it's this, and then if switches to this, if this guy goes here and this goes here, and now it's 5 different things, and you're expecting 7-8 guys to understand that in 3 seconds. So it needs to just have some simplification. But I don't think they're necessarily angry with Witt. I just think there's a lot of confusion in communication. So I know Washington had a plan because hearing them talk, there was a certain plan. And someone asked Revo this. I asked Bobby this. I asked Kinlaw this. Did the Falcons do anything y'all weren't expecting them to? And the answer was no. So that means they were presented with the material. They knew what was coming. And then the Falcons did one thing, and then the communication didn't change. Yeah. So I think that's where the problem is. So if you got to simplify it somehow, that is why Witt gets paid. He's going to have to simplify it. So whatever players he has at the moment, because that's the players he has at the moment, they have to understand. And if it's just you play 3 defenses and we're going to rock out in these 3 defenses, great. Because if you actually go back and look at the Legion of Boom, their defense was pretty simple.
Very simple.
Guys who could do that system, and they performed at a high level. Yeah. You got 2 really big corners who pushed the receivers to hell. You had 4 linemen, and you had 2 linebackers that went east and west. And Bobby and another one.
Was it right? Was it KJ Wright?
It could have been KJ, but those 2 linebackers, and then you had safeties that could obliterate anybody.
Oh my God, I'm saying
that was the defense. They ran cover 4, they ran cover 3. That was the defense. Like the Legion of Boom's playbook was probably 4 pages.
Facts.
So, in a lot of these teams in the NFL with the really good defenses, their defenses aren't that complicated. They just they get the right players and the right mix and are incredibly aggressive and violent. Like the Giants' defense is a great defense to study, but they're not overly out of the park. The Ravens' defense has been the same way for 10 years since Rex Ryan days. It was very simple defense. So I think simplification would help tremendously with the defense. But can you do that now? Because once again, you have a later bye. So you got to get through the slog, you got to get to Madrid, and then there's a mini bye. Then you get there, then there's a bye. Can you do that right now? I don't know if you can. But I think you take less out of the playbook, like take some things out of the playbook. This is what we do well. These 4 things. I don't know what it is. We do those. We hone in on those. We live or die with those. So every person knows it, from Bobby Wagner to Jordan McGee and any other, like Tyler Owens, any other young kid that might have to go out there. They have very little stuff to do, and then they can just be aggressive and react to what they see.
Do you agree with Taj about Quan Martin's play? Has it been shaky to you?
No.
Okay.
I think Quan's been fine. He had that one play with Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Like Kyle Pitts. Good players, great players give up plays. So
yeah, of course.
Quan has been fine. Quan's been a hell of a hitter. Like Quan has hit some people this year. I still don't think he's a true free safety, but Bobby Witt's defense doesn't really have true free safeties. Like, I'm with you, T Black. Like, I don't think he's been bad. I think as a former safety, a lot of stuff in front of you can go wrong, and then their job is to clean it up because you're the safety. Yeah. Like, that's literally your job. Yeah. All these other people effed up, fix it. Yeah. I had a coach tell me that one time. He's like, that's your job. They're going to mess up. You make sure the mess up doesn't turn into a big play. And for the most part, he has done that, because, like, even on the Bijan play, he's on the other hash doing his job. Like, that's not a Quan thing. Like, I mean, so I think he's right where he needs to be, but I don't think he's ready to be the leader of the secondary. And I think that's why Chin was doing those things last year, and I think that's why Harris was doing those things this year.
Alexander Wilson says, when will Cosme be back?
He's very close. I don't know if they open the window this week or next week. I still think he comes back in the Bears game and the Monday night. I still think he's there. There's a chance they open the window on him, because he would have the 14 days. They could open the window on him tomorrow just to see, but I believe that he will play the Bears game. So if he doesn't hit this week, he'll get it next week, because they'll have an extra day going into the Bears game, being a Monday night.
Taj has a question for you. He says, do you know how involved DQ is with the defensive install during the week?
That's a great question. Dan is a more hands-off coach. He allows his coordinators to do things. Now, they come to him with the plans, and he'll make suggestions. But the coordinators come up with the game plans. Now, there are certain times he interjects more than others. I'm not sure if this was a week that he did that, but I know some of the times last year, like after Tampa, he kind of stepped in a little bit, like, we might need to do this, this, and this. After, I want to say, the Steelers or the Cowboys game,
probably Cowboys game. That game was atrocious.
Because it was one of those two where he really got honed in, and I think it must have been the Cowboy game, because the next game was the Titans. Yeah, you just saw a whole different type defense. So there are times he does step in and say, "All right, this is what we need to do. This is my suggestion of what we need to do."
What were your thoughts on the play of Marcus Mariota? I thought he was fine, but what was your overall thoughts on
Marcus? Is fine. Marcus is, I think, what he is. He's a solid 2 that can win you games. Yeah. Now, I don't think he did anything terribly wrong. Me either. He owned up to the mistake. That was the right play call from Cliff. Yeah. The right read. He just threw it too far inside. Yeah. Exactly. If he throws it closer to the pylon,
it's a touchdown. Yeah, I agree.
But like, look at his throw to Debo on 4th down.
That's perfect. That's a big boy throw.
That's a dive.
That's a big boy throw. That was a big boy throw.
Like, I think this week he did a lot less running, because he was more beat up than he let on last week, because he took some hits last week. Okay. And taking some hits at his age is different than taking hits when you're 22. Facts. So I think they did less design running with him today, which was good. but I think he played fine. Like he wasn't. It was like, oh crap, what are you doing? Like he hit open receivers. Like receivers like Luke probably love him because he's like, I run this thing, it's there. Like
he gets the ball.
He gets the ball to Luke. I mean, for all you Luke fans, he gets the ball to Luke. But he's going to do the play. He's going to do the play is scripted, and so like I had no issues with him. Like, I mean, Penix threw an interception today. He had a damn good day. Like,
it's a career game. It's a career day for him.
Like it happens. Like, I don't think he was anything necessarily wrong. Now, you could tell some of the communication on offense was off too. Like on that third down when the ball was snapped early, and him and Ertz had some words on the sideline. Because it's a different cadence, and he knows the offense, but it's just different than Jaden. Like it's going to always be like that with a different quarterback. So
exactly.
But Mariota's the professional. He's going to always be there. He's going to do his job. He's not a threat ever to Jaden. He's completely supportive of Jaden, and the team really likes him. And so you can see them, he did his job. To answer the question, he did his job, and I don't know if you expect any more from him, but he didn't play a bad game. I mean, the man put up 27 this week, and he put up 41 last week. I'm
with you.
I mean, like, there are teams that are struggling to score 14 points, like with their starters. So, like, I think Washington is a good place with that, with him being there.
Agreed. I totally agree with you. Todd has a question for you. Todd says, asks, do all benchings go through DQ, or does he allow the coordinators and position coaches to make that decision with the blessing, of course? Benching seems more likely on one side of the ball.
All of them eventually go to DQ, but it's the coordinators or / position coach decisions. Because they all sit together and look at film, and they're like, okay, this guy's been working his ass off. He needs more touches. Like they said that about McNichols last year. We need like the running game had kind of stalled, and Eckler was kind of going in and out, and B-Rob was B-Rob. They're like, we need to get McNichols some more touches. And there were some games where he did that, and it showed. Like, go back to the Arizona game. So, like, the running game kind of stalled, and then it was like, oh, there's McNichols. Like, that was Dan Quinn. Like, we need to put him in there. But Cliff is the one who advocated, and then Dan was like, okay, do it. So, that would come from there, and Quinn would give the blessing. But there's an expectation, I think, that they've set now. And if you don't meet that expectation, you're getting benched. That's not a discussion. That's just what's going to happen. And I think the team is all aware of it. That if you don't meet that standard, you don't do that.
You could get benched. You could get benched.
Because I think the expectation has been set when they did what? When they traded B-Rob.
Yeah.
Like B-Rob was running B1. He was RB1. He had an incident. It got worse in New England, and they said, "Okay, bye." And Quinn had to sign off on that, and Anthony Lynn had to sign off on that, and Cliff Kingsbury had to sign off on that, which they all did. So,
also, and this is not like I don't want to know like nothing messy, but there's nothing like Brandon Coleman. Did they sit together and say, okay, if the reports are that it's not an injury thing, that it's a performance thing, if those are right.
That's the report, and I've heard rumblings. I'm not going to share those rumblings.
No, I don't want.
Going back and looking at the Green Bay film, I don't think Brandon was that bad.
He wasn't bad, so that's what I'm saying.
And so Chris Paul last week played very well. I thought Chris Paul struggled more today.
Do you think so? I thought he played well today. Okay, maybe
there was some times where I could see him and Tunsil having discussions in the middle of after a play. I thought like one of them they called an eligible man downfield on Tunsil, but it really was on Chris Paul. He was gone. Yeah, he was gone. He was out the gate. But I don't think he did bad, but I don't think Brandon did bad either. So, and I don't think he did bad enough to not be active. Like, so there's a bench and not being active are two different things. Yep. Like we saw that with old Bobby Three Sticks. Like he went from that to not being active. Yeah, that's a signal. You're not playing. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So, but like I don't know. I mean, but Brandon's probably the best example of you got to do what you're supposed to do, or you won't be doing it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's weird because I'm like you. I watched the Packers game. I didn't think he was bad. He wasn't like you told me who was the worst offensive lineman in that game. He's far from it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they solved the biggest issue, which was
Allegretti. Yeah,
and I think while he's a comparable replacement until Cosby gets back, I think his line takes off when Cosby's there.
Yeah, I
agree. You have a true guard there.
Yeah,
that helps Biotish so much. That'll help Connerly tremendously. Connerly's not going to know how to act when he has Cosby next to him. It's like, oh, this person knows what they're doing, and then Connerly will be able to do his thing.
Yeah, and he'll take out so much pressure off of him because he's like, well, again, I'm just hoping that he's 110% good. Like that's the one thing I'm always concerned about when people coming back. And it's not because the knee won't hold up; it's just trusting the knee is a whole different thing.
It's all mental, but as we've seen with his staff, that we're not gonna play people early. Like for all week, we expected Jaden to play, and then Friday he's not playing.
I was expecting it. I ain't gonna lie to you.
When he did the Wednesday press conference, it was like, all right, he's playing.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
And then I didn't go out there Friday, and it was like, Jaden's out. What? Yeah, but that let me know it was a doctor's decision. The doctor said no, and they said, "Oh no, okay."
Yeah.
So I that's why I don't worry about Cosby. Because people were like, he'll be back week 1. I was like, no, they're going to take a little time. That's why I always said the Bears game. It just made the most logical sense. They play 5 games, and then they bring him back. It made more sense.
It does make sense. We talked about Georgia. We talked about Lattimore intensively. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I don't bench him. I make him play press man and see what he does.
Yeah.
If he goes 2-3 weeks and he struggles in press man, then you had that discussion. Because go ahead. Because I think you still, let's just say you go, what's the next 2 games? Chargers and Bears. Let's say you win those 2 games.
Yeah.
But Lattimore struggles. Kind of have your cake and eat it too. Then you can make that change because that would probably mean that Jaden's back and the offense is clicking, the defense is doing their job where it doesn't matter or it matters less about your cover corners, but that's what I do. I'm changing what he does on the field.
Yeah, I agree.
Eyes ain't working. I'm not saying they work. This ain't your best cup of tea. We're just going to be all out aggressive. What I want you to do is see the man in front of you, lock him up. Don't worry about nothing else. Don't worry about motions. Don't worry about all this. Whoever's the outside person, lock him up.
Yeah, and I would
make it simple and see how it reacts. That would be my thing.
Or do what he's always done in his career. Like he's always been like an in your grill type of corner. Like why? That's been his strength.
Because I think week 1 he was in people's faces, and then once Green Bay punched him in the mouth, he's been off. And he's been off the rest of the time.
But they played back in that game regardless off the rip anyway. They were playing back. It was like they were playing back a lot in that game anyway. They came in that game against the Packers real passive. And the initial game plan, to be honest with you, I was like, okay, this is different. Maybe because y'all trust. I get it. Maybe because you have that much more respect for Jordan Love. So I can see why you would in the receiving core. But yeah, I thought when you talk about week 1, he was playing press against the Giants. But I would say if you look at his whole entire career, he's better that way anyway. Like you can't tell if he can't do what he does best anymore, then you already know what it is. Like that's what he did in New Orleans. New Orleans, he was pressed, he was in you. Like he's always been that type of cornerback. So if he can't do that anymore, then that's going to be a problem regardless.
Exactly. I think that would lend itself to, all right, he's not at his peak and he doesn't really have the eyes to convert to safety.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a safety conversion candidate. So
do you think you don't think he is? Do you think you don't think he is? I'm thinking that I was thinking about like
now I could see him moving in not as a safety, but the Will Harris role.
Okay.
Where he can be inside because he is actually pretty physical, like inside.
Marshawn's very physical, yeah.
And so you put him there and let him bang his tight ends. Very few tight ends are going to actually outrun him. Like, you might get a Kyle Pitts that might outrun him.
Yes.
But nobody's really outrunning him there.
Yeah.
And they'll let you be a little bit more physical with tight ends because they're bigger.
Yeah. Facts.
So maybe you put him in that Will Harris role and see if he can handle that. But I think that would take an offseason to kind of learn.
To get back, yeah.
But I think that would be his conversion rate. But put him in, like somebody just said, put him in bump and run.
Yeah, bump and run. George said that.
Yeah, and just do that.
Yeah, I'm for that. Question from George. George said, but those expectations seem to set on the offensive side. No one is getting benched on the defensive side yet. Is that a problem? No one's getting benched on the defensive side. Is that a problem?
Not really, with the exception of corners, and I know he's going for Lattimore. Like,
yeah, everybody's going for Lattimore. Let's get a big.
Most of those defensive positions are rotation.
Yeah.
So like D-line's rotating. All right. So do we want to give Johnny Newton 25 snaps or Eddie Goldman?
I want to give him more snaps.
So this is like no one's getting benched out of that core. Yeah. It's just how much are they going to be used? The secondary is the one place where you're really going to get benched, and then maybe linebacker. But like it's a lot different from offense where it's like these linemen are starting.
Yeah.
Like even receivers, they're going to rotate in. So, okay, Terry's the starter. Noah's the starter. Devo's the starter. But that doesn't mean Jalen Lane's not going to play 60% of the offensive snaps.
True.
Like, that's still a high number. So it's a little weird about, you need to bench him. Nobody's really benched in the league unless it goes from starting to inactive. And I don't think anybody's in that boat yet.
Unless you're a quarterback too, that's a benching. Unless that's a benching. We got a couple more questions before we go end the stream. George said, what did DQ say about the way they handled the end of the half? Because that 2-minute drill was terrible again. I don't think it was terrible, but I'm different from that one. But go ahead. What was your thought process?
I don't think he was ever asked on it. I think I'll ask him tomorrow.
Okay.
I think it was just a weird spot because they were inside the 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if we go 3 out, then the Falcons going to have really good field position.
There you go.
It's kind of hit or miss.
Yeah.
But then the penalties kind of defeated themselves because realistically, they get to near midfield. If they get to the 40, 45, then they turn it on.
Yeah.
Like, they're kind of slow walking it to see if they get there.
Yeah.
So I will say on that one, but like the Falcons did even stupider. Like they came
out
with
the one
passes.
Yeah.
I was like,
they didn't use their timeouts or nothing. Yeah, they were the ones.
I was like, that was stupid. Now they end up with a good punt that ended up in the half, but it's like they were really pushing the edge because all it took is one snap over the punter's head, and Washington recovers for a touchdown. It's a tied game in a game that you had dominated. So I was a little leery on that, but it hasn't been as smooth as last year. I'll say that. Even with Jaden in there, it just hasn't been as fluid. But like before, it was all the pieces weren't together, and then the pieces came together, and now the pieces aren't together. So it's kind of a hodgepodge right now. People have to remember one thing about last year: they didn't have that many injuries to keep people.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
People have to understand that Terry played every single game last year. Jaden started every single game last year. Like you had pretty consistent line most of the year. Like those things matter.
No, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I think that one, I feel like to your point about I have no issue with the way they handled the 2-minute drill. To be real with you, I said this before. It wasn't like that. Your defense wasn't good, and do you want to give Atlanta an opportunity to score 7? And in the half, like you have the luxury of having the ball to start the half, so there's no need to take that risk. There's no need to.
That's what I said. They slow walked it. Yeah, they only got to the midfield. They were turbo.
Yeah, exactly. I have no idea.
If they punt, they'll pin them down deep anyway.
Yeah, I had no issue with the way they handled it. You got to be 110% sure you're gonna get points out of the situation. If you weren't really sure and confident about it, you can't get the way. If your defense was playing well, it would be different. I best believe your defense playing well, they would have been more aggressive. I can darn near guarantee that.
Yeah, like if they were up 14-3 or 20-3, 20-7, they're going hard.
Yeah, exactly. They would go hard. So I don't That's the main reason. Santiago said, "Do you think Witt should blitz more?"
I do agree with that. I'm an advocate of forcing the offense to do something. Yes. Force your opponent to do something. It doesn't matter which side of the ball. Force them to do something. So if I blitz and 80% of the time I hit, and then they might get a big play here and there, live with that. But try to take them off their plane. Washington was too reactive on defense and didn't dictate. So the few times he did blitz, a couple times it worked. There was a Frankie sack. There was the one where he kind of got bent backwards and he threw the ball away. Like it had some effect. Now, should he have done it more? Probably. Especially on passing downs. And please, for the love of God, stop dropping defensive ends in the coverage.
Please, man, please. It's annoying. It never, and to me, it never works unless you have like a soup. It never really works.
I mean, I've seen 49ers do it with Bosa. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, but it happens. But it's like it happened once or twice. I can remember 7 to 8 times where the end is dropped off in coverage today. That's not a thing.
Should not be a thing, man. Shouldn't. Todd says, question, are we concerned about Newton yet? Was expectations too high?
No. I mean, he's a rotational piece. I think he should get more burn in passing situations.
Me too. I think he should get more passing. I think he should get some more passing down.
That's where I would say
I agree
things are different. Like, he needs to get more burn in passing situations. Like, he's rotating in, he's playing snaps, but I think if he's in there on third and longs, then we would see Johnny Newton.
Yeah, I think we need to see him more on passing downs. I agree with you. I want to see, because I think he's more of an impactful player than, say, in terms of that, right? Than a Kinlaw. Yeah. You know what I mean? And there's no knock on
Kinlaw is doing a great job. He's in the box, he's making plays. Like, you can just see his worth. But like on 3rd and 17, Kinlaw shouldn't be out there.
Yeah, that's not his worth. That's not his advantage. That's not where
because even if he penetrates upfield, he's not gonna be able to chase somebody down.
Exactly.
Like at least Johnny can chase somebody down.
He can move. Johnny can move. That's why you drafted him when you drafted him. Last question. Alexander Wilson said, can we talk about Chris Moore is still dropping passes?
Yeah, that one was even tough. I can't even say nothing. I was like, that's right. Oh, and there's other times he's been open. He just hasn't got the ball. Yeah, I mean, he caught that one against the Giants and that, but he's got to hang on to the ball. Like literally, that's in your job description. Wide receiver, you receive the ball. Catch it.
Supposed to catch it. That's the thing. You're supposed to catch the football. Hey man, Felix, thanks for doing this, man. Appreciate you, my guy. Before we end this stream, let folks know how they can catch you on social media and catch your great content for Fox.
You can catch me on Twitter, Commander2407 on Instagram and stuff as well. Catch my content on 1340 AM Fox Sports, the web.com. All my stuff will be there.
Hey, Felix, man, appreciate you, my guy, for pulling up, man, doing this with us, man. Appreciate everybody in the chat for pulling up. Hey, before I let y'all go, man, hit the like button, y'all, because I see a bunch of y'all on here now. Hit the like button. It's free. It's the best 4-letter word. Subscribe to. That's free too.
Like you said, that was a great throw from Mariota too. Mariota had some great throws.
Yeah, that was
a great throw, and that's something people are like, well, I was like, Cliff drew up a good play. Like, people got to do it. Like,
that's when you got to do it. Yeah,
you got to do it. Like, I mean, the man can't go out there and catch the ball for you. So
again, subscribe. Hit the red subscribe button. Liking is free. It's good for the Commander's algorithm too, because that algorithm is wild. Anyway, man, I appreciate y'all for pulling up. Anyway, you've been listening to the Urban Sports Scene for ages. Yidig deuces. We are out. Peace.